Good morning, children. How are you all today? Hope you all are fine. Welcome back to the social session. Have you all finished up my homework given yesterday? Hope you have done. Yesterday, I introduced to you a topic called energy from the sun, and we have learnt various terminology under this energy from the sun. The terminology like insolation, I explained you, the incoming solar radiation or the solar radiation. What is radiation also we have seen yesterday. Okay, radiation is nothing but the energy which is emitted out by any body. It's called as radiation. So here the sun emits the energy in the form of light and heat. The energy which is emitted by sun in the form of light and heat is called as solar radiation, and the earth receives a little part of solar radiation, so it's called as insolation, incoming solar radiation. So later we try to understand that the amount of energy received from the sun, if it is 100 units at the equator, the same is not at the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer or at the poles. It keeps on decreasing. The reason for this we have understood under angle of incidence. Are you clear with the concept of angle of incidence? Angle of incidence is nothing but, imagine this as the earth and this is the equator, okay, 0 degrees. This is a 23.5 north and this is 23.5 south. The sun's rays fall at an angle 90 degrees at the equator, whereas at the Tropic of Capricorn and at the poles, that is 90 degrees north and 90 degrees south, they keep completely bending. This is how the sun's rays fall. So here it will be very intense. The temperature here will be very intense. The sun's rays fall at 90 degrees, so the temperature here will be high, whereas the temperature recorded at the poles will be less. That is what we have studied under the angle of incidence. The angle at which the sun's rays fall on the earth is called as angle of incidence. So after this, today we shall learn further about how the amount of energy received by this earth gets radiated back. Okay, how much of energy is received by the sun, by the earth, and how much gets radiated. If you see this picture in the textbook, children, you'll easily understand how much of the earth energy received by the earth gets radiated. Now this is the sun through which the incoming solar energy is happening. If it is 100 units, 100%, so before it reaches the earth, okay, 6% is getting reflected in the atmosphere and 20% is getting reflected by the clouds and 4% is getting reflected by the earth's surface after reaching the earth's surface, the surface itself. So remaining gets absorbed, that is, let us imagine 51% gets absorbed, and after getting absorbed, okay, it again it gets radiated after few hours. So 64% of it the energy received by it gets radiated to space from clouds and atmosphere, and remaining 6% gets radiated directly by the space, whereas 23% is carried out by the atmosphere by the latent energy. So whatever gets absorbed by the earth has to be reflected back. Here you need to understand one more thing, children, that earth's surface doesn't get heated up. It doesn't get heated up equally all over, especially on water and land. Temperature doesn't get uniform. The earth's insolation will not be the same in the water as well as on the land. Water in the sense on the water bodies like lakes, rivers, oceans, seas, the water doesn't get heated up as fast as the land. Land, being a very good conductor of the heat, gets heated up very faster, and it also gets cooled down very faster, whereas water gets lately heated up and also gets lately cooled down. So this is a contrast between the land and water in getting heated up. And when you observe the heating of the atmosphere, the energy which is received by the earth, okay, when air is present, the atmosphere, when air and other gases are present, they actually allow these sun's rays to fall on the earth, okay. After that, after earth gets heated up, it in return radiates, the earth gets radiates and it heats up the air which is around the earth. That process we call it as terrestrial radiation. The earth heating up the air around it, its surface is called as terrestrial radiation. This is how the atmosphere gets heated up. It's not because of directly by the sun that air around us gets heated up, but it's because of the earth which gets heated up first, and then the earth radiates the heat, and with that heat the air which is around the earth gets heated up. Now, is the entire heat or the energy which has been received by the earth is given away into the space? Let us see about that heat balance. What is this heat balance? Whatever energy is received by the earth has to be given back into the space. Let us imagine some 100% or 100 units of energy has been received by the earth. The same 100% has to be given back into the outer space. Otherwise what happens? Otherwise what happens? If it has received the temperature of let us imagine 100 units, but it has given only 50 units, remaining 50 units remained with the earth. Next day again it has received 100 units and again it has given 50 units. How many units are present with the earth here? 100 units. So slowly the earth becomes a hot place to live. So if it, whatever it receives, if it doesn't give away, it becomes hot. Let us imagine otherwise also, the contrast, opposite to that. It has received 100 but it started giving 110. What happens? When it started giving less, it got heated up. If it is giving more than what it has received, it becomes cool. So either earth becomes hotter or it becomes cooler because of the excessive or less giving of the heat energy. So whatever it receives, it has to be given, then only you can keep the balance of heat on the earth. And this is how the human beings survive on the earth due to the presence of these warm conditions. Earlier, earth was a cold body, later turned out to be a hot body, and now it has turned out to be a warm body, and the human survival is possible only in these warm conditions. Neither hot is acceptable nor cool is acceptable. These conditions are not suitable for the inhabitations and for the survival of the mankind and animal kind on the earth. So heat balance is very important. Whatever you receive, it has to be given back. That is the most important concept. And later, you must also see one more thing, that sometimes carbon dioxide, the gases like carbon dioxide prevent the radiation of heat. So due to which what happened, the earth unable to radiate heat into the outer space, this carbon dioxide which is present in the atmosphere will prevent it, that radiation, due to which earth slowly starts getting warm. This process of gases obstructing the earth to radiate is called as a global warming. The most burning topic here in the country. So how this carbon dioxide enters into the atmosphere with the usage of the fossil fuels like petrol, diesel, kerosene and coal. When you burn these kind of fossil fuels, carbon dioxide gets released into the atmosphere, which further prevents the radiation of the earth, and the earth gets warm day by day, and that leads to a crisis called as global warming. So please keep it in mind, children, that globe becomes warm because of the radiation is not allowed by the gases which are present in the atmosphere. That is the reason why many of the scientists were making appeals to the mankind to reduce these burning of fossil fuels. Next, let us see about the temperature of the atmosphere. What is the temperature in the atmosphere? It's the temperature in atmosphere. So how the temperature is measured generally, your human body temperature? Through an instrument called as thermometer. Am I right? What is our body temperature? How do we measure? Through a thermometer, isn't it? So there is generally a 6 maximum and minimum temperature thermometer, 6 maximum and minimum thermometer, which is used to measure the temperature of this room or temperature of the city today. And it is based upon that thermometer only the weather reports will telecast how many degrees Celsius of temperature is recorded maximum and minimum in the city. Generally in the weather report they tell you 32 degrees Celsius today maximum temperature in Warangal. Have you heard about this? So these all things are recorded only with the help of 6 maximum and minimum thermometer. So this temperature has been recorded by the scientists of various places, and they present it in the form of data even. So what is the maximum temperature of the place and what is the minimum temperature of the place, and in which months of the year it gets more heat, and in which months of the year it gets to the low temperature. So this is how the temperatures will be recorded. And you know children, the temperature recorded on the earth, the maximum temperature recorded on the earth was in the year 1977 at a place called as Azizia in Libya in Africa. Azizia in Libya. It was in July 1970s. They have recorded 57 degrees Celsius of temperature. This is the highest temperature recorded so far on the earth surface. This is the highest temperature at Azizia. And the lowest temperatures were recorded at Vostok. Vostok is a station in Antarctica where they have recorded minus 83 degrees Celsius. See, this is the lowest temperature recorded so far, and this is the highest temperature recorded so far. So when I talk about 57 degrees Celsius and minus degrees Celsius, have you understood what is this minus? Now see children, our water gets boiled at 100 degrees Celsius. At 100 degrees Celsius, our water, generally do you take hot water, hot shower? So the water gets heated up at 100 degrees Celsius. And in refrigerator, do you drink cool water? In refrigerator, at 0 degrees Celsius, the water gets turned into ice. It's mean it gets frozen. So this is the scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees Celsius, and here also we have negative -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So this is a minus and this is a plus, okay, and this is 0 degree saturation point where the water turns into ice. The lowest temperature recorded is minus 83 degrees Celsius, and the highest temperature recorded is 57 degrees Celsius. This is in Libya and this is in Antarctica. Please remember this one. And when we talk about the minus degree Celsius, okay, the lowest, the temperature minus, to what extent it goes, is to only to 279 degrees Celsius, minus 279 degrees Celsius. Below this, no way it can go. So this is a minus temperature. Okay, this is a maximum minus temperature. Okay. And coming to the recording of temperature, you need to record the temperature maximum and minimum. Okay, maximum generally we observe at the time of 12 o'clock, day. In the midday we observe the maximum temperature, and the minimum temperature will be observed early in the morning or in the evening. So by taking this record, if you take every day, okay, let us imagine 1st July you have taken maximum is 32 and minimum is 27 degrees Celsius, and second 33 degrees Celsius, and this is 28 degrees Celsius. Likewise, you have reached all 30 days. Then sum up all these, and with the number of days you divide, you will arrive at July month average maximum temperature and July month average minimum temperature. This is how the month's average maximum and minimum temperatures can be calculated. Here in the textbook they have given the Hyderabad's maximum and minimum temperature of the year for the month of January to December. You please go through it, and we can prepare the graphs of minimum and maximum temperatures with the help of the data given, which we shall see in the next class, children. Thank you.